I got a call from my mama. You guys missed that whole thing? Oh, oh, oh. Par for the course. You guys, that was so good. That was so good. Whatever I just said was so good. How am I going to rewind and play it back? How am I going to rewind that and play it back? Flip it, reverse it. Oh my gosh. I wasn't even looking at you guys. I was in my own world. I was in it. Thanks for hanging out for so long. Oh my God. And my mom called and I only answered. I only answered because she's having some health stuff. So I was like, oh dear God, I've got to answer my phone because what if my mom's in the hospital and you know, and then I was like, why is my mom calling? She knows we're doing Untangle or LORIE LADD Show. Um, wow, you guys, where do we begin? Well, thank you very much. Goodbye. Dook. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You guys are so patient for waiting this long and not giving up. Probably a handful of people were like, I'm out of here. There she goes. All right. Well, let's start all over, shall we? Okay. Well, what I was sharing was how amazing Jesus is. That was the first thing I was sharing. I was sharing about, oh, it was so good. I don't want to have to repeat it. I was talking about how the more that I have stories to share with you guys. I'm laughing so long. I'm laughing. Okay, first of all, the day today has been wild. We've had some hiccups. Um, I don't know if you guys remember when I was doing the 40-day class. So when you work, this is what I was saying in the beginning of the class. It's not a class, in the beginning of the show. Apologize, it's a show. I was saying to you guys, but you weren't listening, that when you start sitting and hanging out with Jesus every day, a lot of really interesting things happen. Um, cool, miraculous things, and also just like, haha, very funny Jesus things. And I have, of course, really, truly, and I continue to really surrender my entire life to Him over and over and to God over and over every day. It's a constant practice trying to figure out how to like let go even more. So anyway, this happens. I don't know why this happened, but it always brings a lightness to the load. I sent out an email to the whole 21-day class, the 21-day Jesus class. I sent out an email that had a 100% discount code for the next 40-day class. Now, let me tell you why this is funny. So I sent out a code. It was supposed to be a 10% code. It was 100% off the class to every single person that registered for that was in the 21 days class with Jesus. And I'm like, "Jesus, you know what, Jesus? I know that was you." Because ideally, like, if I didn't have to pay bills, I would give everything for free. I give a lot of my classes away for free anyways. And trust me, if I had the means, I would be doing these classes for free. And I look forward to the day where I will be able to do everything for free, and I'll have a somebody else just giving me money. Some billionaire that's like, "Hey, Lori, here's $1 million for the year. Run your business and go do the traveling that Jesus needs you to do, and offer up everything for free." That you have no idea how happy that would make me. It like brings me to tears to be able to think that I could give everything for free to people. Like literally it makes it like it just it's all I want to be able to do that, right? But this is my job. I have to pay my bills. Anyway, so Jesus gave the coupon code to everyone for free. And I'm like, dude, I get it, but like, you know, how am I going to pay for my rent? And anyway, but the funny thing is that when I was doing the 40-day class, the first 40-day class, so I do a 40-day class with God where we sit every day for 40 days. It's the most transformational class, even if it's challenging. It changes your life. It's the only thing we should be doing, and we should be doing it every single day. And I can't wait for the day that I can offer it up for free. It'll come. It's coming. Jesus is bringing that to us. But in the meantime, the first 40-day class, we're up and running. It's like day 12, all is well. And then all of a sudden, this email goes out to 9,000 people, gifting them the 40-day class. Now, a lot of people got angry. They were very upset. They didn't want this class. I don't want this. This is not okay. Don't send this to me. I didn't pay for like there was a lot of that, which is interesting. There were a lot of people that were like, "Oh, I wanted to take this class. Thank you so much." And they're just like, got in. Um, and I knew it was Jesus. And so here he does it again. He's like, "Oh, we're doing 40 days? Okay. Give it to everybody for free." And so I'm learning how to navigate this. If I were to be completely brutally honest in my own navigation with working with Jesus, I am learning how to give as much as I can away for free and still be able to support myself and run my business because it's expensive, believe it or not, to run an online business, as weird as it sounds. Um, so anyway, that happened today. And this happened today. And I was all talking Jesus. It was like, anyways, I wanted to share with you guys a couple stories that he and I have been talking about and sharing. But what I was sharing in the very beginning of class was the more that I sit with Jesus, the more I am understanding his role on the planet. And, there are many different roles. Mary Magdalene plays a different role. Mother Mary plays a different role. Saint Germain plays a role, right? But Jesus plays the most, in my opinion, the most significant role at this time. And he's been playing this role for thousands of years. And the more that I sit with him, the more I'm understanding really clearly what that role is and how simple it is and how complex he has become in the world, how twisted, infiltrated, and manipulated his message and him has become, and how challenging it is to peel it all apart and to try to get people to just say hello to him and connect with him and let him wow them. All he wants is to sit down with every single human, any human, all humans, the most horrific humans, the most beautiful humans, and help them navigate what we're in. And so what what I am starting to really understand about Jesus, Yeshua, is he's here to do a couple of big things. Number one, he's here to reconnect us back in and activate the God particle. That doesn't mean that he's the only one that can, but that is a big piece of what he's here to do at this time. The God particle, which I will be talking about more and more. There's so much coming about the God particle. It's been infiltrated, right? It's been shut down, kind of uh, put on sleep mode in a way. And so he's here to reactivate that, bring us back into that God particle. He's here to bring the holy light of God back down into our bodies, the Holy Spirit. He's here to show us the actual spiritual battle we're in from a very human, grounded way, not in this foo-foo spiritual woo-woo way, but a very grounded, everyday, daily life spiritual battle when you turn on your TV, your computer, your phone, all of it. And he's here to walk us through this spiritual battle and get us to remember. Do you remember the Nephilim? Do you remember the archons? Do you remember the demonic energies and how it works? Do you remember parasitic energies? Do you remember entities? Do you remember how it's going to get worse before it gets better? Do you remember that the God particle is turned off? And your job when you incarnate is to remember that, right? He's here to kind of wake us, like literally shake our shoulders. But because he's been infiltrated into more of a religious dogmatic system that has been perpetuating fear, control, hierarchy, and a lot of dysfunction, unfortunately, it's been a little bit of a chaotic ride for him, to say the least. Um, so it's fascinating to me. I absolutely love it. I'm loving my life more and more. Every single day, I am more and more in love with life and the ups and downs, sitting with him, sharing him, and connecting with God. And what I was saying when you guys were listening so beautifully, was that the number one thing that he's trying to get us to understand right now, and I should be talking, I shouldn't say should, but I need to be sharing more and more about this. Um, and I will, but is the programming, the deep, deep, deep programming. You and I are programmed. We're deeply programmed. Please don't tell me you're not programmed. You and I are programmed. The first step in getting out of programming is to recognize and to humble ourselves to the realization of the programming, right? Um, and if we argue sides, right? So we see something happening and we're arguing sides about it, we're in deep programming. If we are trying to validate or make any sort of murder or killing okay, we're in deep programming, right? If we are using AI and not understanding the ramifications in 10 and 15 years, we're deeply programmed. If we are still believing that our thoughts are who we are, we're deeply programmed still. If we are running around in loops trying to fix and fix and fix this, now fix this, now fix this within ourselves, we're still in deep programming. These are all the deep programs Jesus is showing me. They're programs that you and I don't even realize are programs, right? That's how deep the programming is. And what happens as we start looking at deep programs and then more deep programming and more deep programming is you start to peel away everything that has been thrown on you, all of the complicated layers of how to be human. And what Jesus shows us is, oh, who I am and how I'm here to be on this planet is so simple. There are no layers, there's no stories, there's no books, there's no programs I have to do. It's just the simplistic light of God inside of me that my awareness connects into and it begins to live through. And as it does this, as the human persona does this more and more, all of the programs that have been thrown on us and layered on us, including all the temptations in the world, the seven deadly sins should be plastered on our walls, and we should be looking at it every day like, all right, where am I on the scale of that today? About 50% playing in it, 50% focusing on God, right? These are all these deep layered programs that have been placed on us. It's like, no, this is good because of dot, dot, dot. And Jesus is saying, where is it leading you? Where does it lead you? If it doesn't lead you back to the particle of God that you are, the divinity that you are, but we can argue this. Listen, I've had many of arguments with him, and we can argue this all the live long day. But he will say, if it's not leading you back here, if it doesn't keep you here, right? So you're satiated here, he says. And then you go out and play in the world, then it's okay. That there's not a lot of deep programming, right? Because when you're here, you don't believe thought. You understand thought. When you're here, you're not going to start dividing against people because you understand that everybody is this. When you're here, you're going to look at what AI is doing and how it is pulling humanity into an inauthentic timeline, a very dangerous inauthentic timeline. It's pulling humans from authenticity. It's pulling humans from emotion. It's pulling humans from this. right? If you start looking at all the addictions and all of the numbing and all the things that we need to do right now, right? It's pulling us from this. And so there's all these like there's these things that we do in our life that are fabulous that we love. But if it does that, he's like, "Ah, it's a little program you got going on there, you know." And so it's these baby steps of with compassion, focusing here as much as we possibly can. It's all very simple. You know, he's all about simplicity. It's very, very simple, but we have forgotten. And so the other night I was sitting, um, the sound is on. 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 Okay. Um, all right. So the other night I was laying, I sleep in my office right now. Um, on these little like mattressy pads because the energy in my office is really, really potent. Um, so anywho, I was sleeping there the other night. I was laying there and I was talking to Jesus and I felt this shift, like an energetic, literally, you guys, it felt like I visually saw humanity get pulled deeper into a timeline. I've never had this happen. I'm pretty sure Jesus showed it to me because I've never seen such a usually when I feel energies on the planet, it's an hour, 2 hours, a day, 3 days, right? It's this overarching kind of um collective shift I feel. This was an instantaneous like shift, collective frequency shift. And I'm like, I looked at Jesus. I didn't look at him because he's not actually physically in my room, but I was talking to him. I was like, what just happened? And he said there was an instantaneous shift. And he showed me the path, right? So he's been showing me lately there's two timelines or two paths that humanity is walking down, the organic and the inorganic. Um, and these are two very visceral, very physical, very real, very energetic paths. The inorganic is all about the infiltration, the demonic energies, the archonic energies, um, the AI stuff, everything that is the seven deadly sins, the temptations that pull you, the greed, the let me get more famous, let me get more money, let me all that stuff that's pulling humanity. Let me pretend to be who I'm not, all this stuff. And the organic, of course, is the opposite of that. God, 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 authentic, 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 truth, truth, truth. Um, and so he showed me that instantaneously there was like this magnet at the end of the so imagine these two roads and then the inorganic road, okay? He showed me a magnet, a big magnet at the end of that road, and humanity as these magnets as well. And when this big magnet showed up on this road, the inorganic road, a huge amount of humans went like this. So let's just say they were sort of leaning towards the organic. Um, and all of a sudden, or they were like in between paths, right? They weren't quite sure which path they were on. It was like this big magnet came out and they were like towards the inorganic path. Like instantaneously, a large number of humans got pulled. Now, to me, I imagined it as instantaneous. It's possible that this has been happening for a while, right? But it did feel like an instantaneous shift in human consciousness towards inorganic. And I want to preface this for a second because we are in an evolutionary shift and we are coming back to the God particle, to our God consciousness, and to being God-like in human form. That is the shift. That's what's happening second by second, minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, month, week, year. Um, but it is going to take a very long time. And if anyone tells you otherwise, be careful. It's going to take a very long time. I mean, Jesus was on the planet 2,000 years ago. We weren't that different at that time. I mean, If you looked at humans 2,000 years ago and humans now, the only difference is technology for the most part. They believed their thoughts just like we did. They had anger, rage, war just like we did. They fought just like we did. They divided just like we did. How different is our consciousness 2,000 years ago to now, other than technology and like what we're able to do on the planet? Right. So when you start thinking about really thinking about the evolution in human consciousness, it takes a while. That being said, we are responsible for our choices every single second of every single day. And it is our choices that change the entire planet. So we don't need to get caught up in what everyone else is doing, because that's just going to distract us. We want to stay focused on how often throughout my day am I focused on the God particle, God's light, God. I was looking around today and I was noticing a lot of people. Um, I could feel into the suffering, not having enough money to pay their bills, having to go to war, not having being able to see their children for some crazy reason, being placed in prison and they're innocent. All there's so many things that are happening to people on this planet, but they all have the ability to connect into the light of God, bring it down into the God particle, and change their entire lives, regardless of what situation they're in. And that's what Jesus is trying to teach us. So, with this, what I was shown about the magnet, yeah, there were a lot of people on this planet that went, okay. But that doesn't mean that we say, oh my God, this is horrible news. Now what do we do? All it means is that we understand how powerful this battle is that we're in. And we need to talk about it. Because if we don't talk about it, we will get pulled with the magnets. What is the magnets? The magnets are the things on the planet right now that are creating a lot of ease, like easiness, temptations, the pretty things, um, you know, making more money, being seen more, being more successful, but in like in different ways than 20 years ago, okay? 20 years ago, you were crawling up the corporate ladder because you wanted to make enough money so that you could put it away in your bank account and you could like no longer work, right? Now you have this energy of like greed where it's like this weird feeling of like I need this money. I need more money. Even if you are like, dude, I just need to make money to sock it away so I don't have to work anymore. Feel into the energies of that, though. It's different. The energies of what we're used to 20 years ago is very different now. Now, because we're used to like, oh, yeah, I like making money. So we think it's the same energy. It's very different. It's being messed with. The frequencies of these desires are being messed with. They're tweaking them. They're tweaking it. And it's like all of a sudden, there's more temptation, there's more pull for things. There's more like, "Oh my god, if I use all these things, I'm gonna exponentially increase my revenue by 100." And so it's like magnet, right? If I just do dot, 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 I'll be able to break the algorithm and everyone's gonna see me and I'll be able to la, 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 right? Magnet. We all have certain pulls to the magnet. And if you're conscious and awake to this, like really energetically awake, you will notice this magnet. Like you'll notice there's something different happening right now. People are not recognizing what's pulling them, what's creating their behaviors. Why are we moving in that direction? Why am I choosing to do that? Why am I choosing to follow that? Why? We've got to get really clear, like peel it back. Like we got to get real discerning and energetically like discerning right now with what's pulling us because humanity is starting to fall asleep. Don't blame me, blame Jesus. Jesus told me this. Blame it on Jesus. Blame it on the Casanova. You know that song? Um, blame it on Jesus. Um, okay, so anywho, there's like this a little bit of a zombie-ishness, right? Again, this isn't a bad thing, it's not a dark thing, but it is something we need to stay awake. We need to stay awake. What we are stepping into right now is a split like no other. And I'm so excited for it, but it is something that I'm going to keep talking about because you're going to notice it in your everyday life. You're going to notice everybody around you in that same predicament. And what I always recommend and what I'll just keep recommending, if you think about the magnet going forward, right? Like, let's just say that what I was shown by Jesus was these temptations, whatever it is for all of us. And it feels really good. I mean, this is how humanity fell from these higher realms and these higher consciousnesses millions of years ago. The simplest explanation. Everybody can have all of these like, oh, the Anunnaki came in and they did this and they did this and there were these uh battles that happened and the technology got too advanced for the human consciousness and they destroyed the planet. There's all these theories, but at the bottom, at the base reason why humanity fell from a much higher state of consciousness down into the third dimension was temptation. Temptation. There were more humans on the planet at that time than galactic energies, and the humans could have pulled that timeline forward. But it didn't happen because of temptation, control. It feels good. When you're tempted with something that satiates a desire, it feels good. And humanity likes that. And so right now, this is the number one thing to really pay attention to. The other thing that Jesus was talking about. So think about that magnet, what pulls you, and then think about where is God in all of that? Where is God? Like, do I believe, and whatever God is to you, right? Um, do I believe that God has my back? We can start asking that question. Do I believe that I am guided by God? We can start asking that question. What is God to me? We can start asking that question. Where is God? Start asking that question. How do I access God? We need to start asking these questions all day long. We need to start remembering, which to me is the most profound remembrance possible. Of course, it's not entertaining. It's not going to keep people's attentions. They're going to move from one reel or one show to the next because they want fast entertainment that keeps them preoccupied. But there's this particle within us that is called the God particle. It literally gives you access to God consciousness. What? Come again? Every single human body has it, which means every single human has access to it, which means we're all an aspect of God, except we're living on a planet that has programmed us so deeply that we have no idea how to do that, how to be that, how to find it, how to integrate it, how to live that, how to access it in a world that has done everything to keep us away from it. Because you see, the world couldn't change DNA. The world, the people that and other beings that have controlled the planet, they couldn't control the way the human body was designed. That's God. The human body was designed with a God particle and with a soul. Okay? They could make hybrids, which they've done, but they can't override God's creation. Every human body has the God particle. Every human has access to the God consciousness within them, which means that we all have the ability to be godlike as humans. And now, what Jesus is here to do is to walk us back into that particle and activate that particle by the holy light of God coming back down. Meaning, the holy light of God has always been there. God's in everything. But if we're not consciously bringing that back into that particle isn't going to start moving again. And when that particle moves, you become godlike, slowly but surely, trickle by trickle, inch by inch, millimeter by millimeter. And the whole world that's been controlling you, I should say the small percentage of people that have been controlling this planet, the last thing they want you to do is remember this. So what are they doing? They're creating magnets. They're creating AI, robots, everything fake, things that have no emotion, things that are not real, things that are not human. Why? Because that's only going to keep perpetuating you moving from this. I guarantee you, if the God particle was activated in humanity, there would be no resonance with AI. It would not make any sense. Wouldn't. Wouldn't. Why? Because you know there is a danger in playing in inauthenticity. It doesn't make sense. That's a whole other subject. It's a whole other game we could play. The point is that this is what is starting to become available to us more and more. This is what all the sages and all the yogis and all the monks in the Tibetan mountains and the Himalayan mountains, they all accessed this. They did it over years and years of training, but they accessed this. I would argue that most of our searching for the meaning of life is trying to access this. We all have a craving for this. So let's talk really quickly about demonic energies. Okay, so you've got these magnets now, these quote unquote kind of magnets that are pulling humanity. We're zombified. We're numb. We're like kind of numb. We're just like do 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 do. I don't want to throw out. I don't want to throw heat on everything out there, but if you see most of what you see out there that has the same sort of patterning, people are doing the same sort of things together, like they're, like, oh, this is how you create this, and this is how you do this, and this is how you do that. Those are all systems and programs. If it doesn't resonate with you, but you're doing it anyway, you are following the magnet. Right? If you're doing it because it totally resonates and you're absolutely loving it, and this just feels so right and so good, then you're not following the magnet, you're following your authenticity. But the majority of humanity has been programmed to follow the magnets. And so even if it doesn't resonate with you, I don't really like this, I don't really want to do this, you're forced to do it. Think about school. We start off in that. I don't want to go to school. You have to go to school. I don't like this. You have to, right? You could say it's part of the system. It's how we are. It's how we are shaped. Exactly. Program. Neither here nor there. It's the program, right? So we're noticing where am I being pulled from my authenticity, from what resonates. So you've got these magnets that they're pulling. Okay. Now the other thing that's happening, which has also been, and I had an interesting experience with this week, was demonic energies. There's a lot of the demonic energies are like really kind of like getting their feathers ruffled. They're not liking us remembering this. Okay. And the demonic energies, they're energies. They're parasitic energies. They're alive. They move in and out of human bodies. Um, you don't realize they're there. You don't realize they're coming in. You don't realize well, you could realize they're leaving a lot of times, but they're just around. And they're nothing to be afraid of once you realize you just say the name Jesus and they run, or you say the name God and they run. They run in the light of God. Bring in the light of God anytime you feel like there's weird energies, and they run immediately. Say the name Jesus Christ and they'll run. But what's interesting, what's happening on the planet is if you think about these two timelines, um, the inorganic and the organic, right? If you're walking through the inorganic, you're not going to feel a lot of demonic energies. Why is that? Well, because you're living in them. So you're not trying to get out of it. They're just doing their thing. You're believing all the things the demonic energies are telling you, like the infiltrated thoughts, the addictions, um, the I don't want to be on the planet anymore. I don't have enough money for these things. I'm a horrible person. I'm never going to find love again. All these horrible things that you think, I'm going to say the majority of it, at least 70%, is not yours. So if we're walking the inorganic path, okay, we're programmed and we're just not really going to recognize that there are these demonic energies playing around. Now, if you start saying, "You know what? I'm going to I'm going to stop this nonsense. I'm going to stop just following. I'm going to stop doing things just because it feels good. I'm going to start putting God first and see what happens. I'm going to stop doing things and following things just because the world is telling me to do it." So you start to walk the organic. When you start walking the organic path, the only way you pull over to the organic is you start to say, "Where's God in my life?" Whatever God is. Where is God? When you start questioning where is God, guess who gets very angry? The demons. And they're real. They are very real. They don't like that. Why? Because when you find the light of God, they leave. They cannot exist within the light of God. Now, you can argue, and we can go into this quantum perspective, that everything is God, okay? Everything is light, okay? But I would argue that while you're playing the dualistic, polarized, third dimensional game of planet Earth, all energy is reduced to certain frequency bandwidths. And based on those frequency bandwidths, that's going to give you an experience of that energy. And if that energy is very low vibration frequency, it's going to feel very dark. Light or no light, it's still going to feel dark. It's still going to have a reason for doing and being with what it is as this energy. Okay. So, yes, from a higher perspective, from that quantum perspective, everything has God in it because it all came from God. But I'm playing the game Earth. I don't know what game you're playing, but I'm actually playing human. And when you play human, you play duality. When you play duality, you play all different types of energies in all different types of suits. And demons are one of them. And so this whole idea of like, well, demons are just an energy and they're actually not. No, 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 no. Tell that to a demon that's standing in front of you. That's like insane. Okay, so my point is, I got to get going because I spent 15 minutes not talking to you guys. Um, when we start walking this organic path and we start going here and we start saying, "Where's God? Oh my God, God's alive and here and breathing through me, and God's living through me, and God's here, and holy cow, God," right? We start doing God. The demons are like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 we need a little timeout. You're going the wrong way. If you keep doing this, I won't exist. I'm gonna have to go find somebody else. I've been enjoying being around you. I've been enjoying being in you. I've been enjoying controlling your mind." Like, and they get louder because they're being rustled out of you. And so all of a sudden, you start seeing demonic energies or feeling them. Not everyone, not everyone. Okay. But a lot of people will. They'll be like, "What the heck's going on?" What, or you'll feel them in other people. And it's not the people's fault. God bless the people, right? But you'll start noticing them. You'll start noticing your infiltrated thoughts. You're like, "This is not me." You will notice it in people that you love dearly. You're like, "What in the heck is going on? This feels off. Something's not right." It's because you're starting to come back in and you're starting to anchor the light of God into you because you're starting to breathe into you, the light of God, you're starting to walk with God, it's everything changes and the demons start to run. They start leaving you, but they are around and you start to break free. So then you say to yourself, wait a second, did I need to do all that healing? Or was it just these dark demonic energies that had infiltrated my family, my family's family, my family's families, lineage after ancestor after ancestor? The ancestral healing that we're doing, maybe it's demonic energies that have been passed down and they just jump onto the next child and jump into the next child and jump into it's fun. It's like grasshopper. You're like jump and jump and jump. And we've been programmed to believe that we've got to do all this healing work. The problem with that, which I said last time, was we're not actually we're not actually healing the problem. We're healing a symptom. And so remember this, okay? Really remember, try to start really analyzing um, the two timelines, organic and inorganic, what it feels like to you. Start to realize that when you're going to this organic pathway more and more, that you are committing to God, this creator and the aspect in you, that you're going to start breathing it through you, that you're going to start talking to this light of God, that you're going to start accessing this light of God. Um, we're designed to be able to, what's going to start happening the more that you walk down this path, the more you see this infiltration. Um, you don't, if this is happening to you, you don't want to go into the negative of like, oh my God, something's wrong. Why is this happening? I'm not connecting to God because of this, because of that. No, you just keep calling God in. If you're starting to feel weird things, you just call God in. The other day I was sitting with Jesus, my morning sit that I do with him, and this nasty, dark, um, demon looking thing was in front of me. And I wasn't afraid of it. Um, but I was like, it was tall and it was just standing there like an annoying dark thing. And I'm like, Jesus, what the heck's this thing doing? He goes, well, get rid of it. And I was like, how? He goes, the light of God. He literally talked to me like the light of God. And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, call in the light of God. Cause I was like, can you get rid of this? And he goes, call in the light of God. And I was like, all right. So I was like, calling in the light of God. And when I do that, what I'm literally imagining that the creation, the creator, the source of everything, like we came from something. It wasn't, we all originated from something. We are sparks of something. We are individuated expressions of something. That something couldn't experience itself without individuation, awareness. Individuation is awareness. If you don't have individuation, you cannot be aware, right? That is what one dimensional is. There's no awareness. Two dimension, there's no awareness. Once you become third dimensional, there's awareness. So when you individuate from creator, there's now creator now can experience itself because there's a separation, there's an individuation, there's an awareness now of itself. And so that creation, that source is what I access and say the light of God is coming in. And when I did that, the demons started to kind of go back. And then Jesus said, say it again. And I said, okay, I'm calling in the light of God. That's all I did. I'm calling in the light of God. And I just imagined this light coming around me, coming in me. And the demon started to go back a little bit more. And I said, okay, I'm calling in the light of God. I wasn't afraid. I wasn't like, no, it's just like, I'm just calling in the light of God. And then the demon just went away. It was gone. I didn't have to do a cleaning ritual. I didn't have to do like, you know, sage or I don't recommend that anyways, but I didn't have to do all that. And so if just an example of understanding we are 1 billion% in a spiritual battle. There's no way around it. It doesn't matter how high vibe you go. It doesn't matter how long you meditate so that your body moves into a frequency of whatever. It doesn't matter that you activate your chakras and you activate your pineal gland and all these things, like all the fancy things. You're still in a spiritual battle, and you better learn how to deal with the demonic energies and the archonic energies and the parasitic energies that are here. They don't go anywhere. So just because, we are, bringing our high frequencies don't dispel demonic energies. Opening your pineal gland doesn't dispel demonic energies. The infiltrated thoughts don't go anywhere just because you've elevated yourself into a higher frequency. And changing the neuroplasticity of your mind is great, except that if you are not aware of the demonic or infiltrated energies that are coming in, they're still going to come in. They'll still come in. They'll get you in some other way. You understand? Like everything that we have been taught, if it is not starting to focus on demonic energies and infiltrated energies, we better start talking about it. We better start thinking about it, because that is the baseline of the spiritual battle. What I mean by that is how the spiritual battle began. The infiltration of the mind to convince you of who you are, and the separation between God's light and the God particle, so that it shut down the God particle. So you forgot that you were an aspect of God, and that you had God consciousness in you, and that you could access it at any time. And so with that infiltration, demonic and parasitic energies began. And so we can do all the brain stuff, we can do all the frequency stuff, we can do all of that. But if we're not aware of the parasitic and demonic energies that are infiltrating us and infiltrating other people. So real quick, right? Real quick. And by the way, this isn't I'm hoping you guys aren't feeling like, holy shit, this is the scariest thing ever. Because this is really good, because it gives you awareness, and awareness is freedom. So here's what you can do if you feel funky. First of all, you can message me or email me, and I'll answer you. Um, I answer everybody that asks me questions about these kinds of demonic situations. Um, I try to, because it's really important. But here's the thing: if you feel funky, weird, off from you, from someone else, from like, and you're just like, oh, this doesn't feel like me. These thoughts don't feel like me. This person's doing something weird. First of all, don't blame the person. They have no idea. Have compassion for them, more compassion than you want to. Okay. Now, what you want to do is you want to bring in the light of God. I am the light of God. I am the light of God. I am the light of God. I'm bringing in the light of God. I am the light of God. I am the light of God. I am the light of God. The second you feel something funky in your house, I am the light of God. You could also say, I rebuke these energies in the name of Jesus. I rebuke these energies in the name of Jesus. But I am the light of God works just as well from my experience. Bring in the big guns, God's light, and they start to flee. Start paying attention to like more of like this energetic hygiene, right? I have salt. I've been doing salt. Um, different sprays you can use, and white angelica and myrrh, MRYH. I love those two. I do them all the time. Lemongrass. I spray lemongrass in my office almost every day. Little things like that. My last thing I'm going to say to you guys before we go: be very, 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 very discerning with where you are putting your focus, what you are listening to, who you are listening to, what you are taking in. I cannot emphasize this enough. If there is one teaching that Jesus has been teaching me more than any other the last couple of months, it's pay acute attention, Lori, to what you are watching. And he says it takes 3 seconds to scroll, to see someone, to hear 3 seconds of their words, and something infiltrates into your mind. 3 seconds. It doesn't take much. And I didn't believe him, okay, at first. So I started going back to certain people and listening or watching or doing whatever. And then I started noticing, he goes, "Why are you doing this? I told you not to do that." Not in a bad way, right? But like, this is where energies come in, Lori. And I'm like, it can't possibly be true, Yeshua. Like, I'm literally watching for 5 minutes and then I just move to something else. And he goes, okay. And sure enough, a couple of hours later, I've got these weird infiltrated thoughts. They last for a day. And I'm sitting here trying to get these freaking energies off of me. And then he says to me, "You know where they came from?" And I said, "Yeah, I know where they came from." He's like, don't even say, it's nothing but these people, right? But don't even say their name. Don't don't do anything with the energies that have disrupted whatever. And so it took me about 3 months, and now I understand he's absolutely correct. And so long as I keep my field as clean and clear as possible, which means that I do not watch, almost the only thing I watch is anything that makes me feel neutral or excited, right? Like, go, whatever, but like it's a neutral. I don't get done watching something and feel funky, feel insecure, feel doubt, feel lack, feel fear, um, feel weird about myself. I won't do it. And you'll notice many times there's an addiction to that. You won't want to watch it, but you'll go back to it. That's the magnet. That is the magnet. If there is a magnetic pull to something that you know isn't right, that is a clear sign of demonic energies. I'm going to say this one more time before I go. If you are feeling a pull to something that you know you don't want to do, or you don't want to follow, or you don't want to listen to, but you find yourself going there, that is the magnet we were talking about earlier. That's the demonic energies. And so force yourself, trust your intuition. This is the hardest piece. Trust your intuition. I'm telling you right now, your energy is so precious. It is so delicate. It's very delicate right now. Our energies are very, very delicate. We've got to take care of them. Don't doubt what you're feeling. Those thoughts you have are not yours. That pull you have to things that you know you don't want to do is not your fault. It's not. And as we go through this evolutionary shift, more and more people are going to start realizing, like, oh, you're right. Protect your energy. Meaning, and I don't mean like put a shield around you, like protect your energy, i.e., what are you watching? And ask yourself as you're watching whatever you're watching that's got a pull, a magnet, where's God in this? I.e., I am the light of God watching this right now. How do I feel as the light of God watching this? And you will immediately turn it off. It will not resonate instantaneously. All right, you guys, we did it. Thanks for hanging in there. Oh, Lord, I'm going to have to fast forward that part or edit that part out or put a big, like, you know, go past the first 8 minutes of Lori talking to herself. I love you guys so much. I believe, hold on one second. Oh yeah, okay, I will be here next Wednesday. We do have our 40-day class, 40 days 3.0. It is open for registration. We start February 25th. We go till April 5th. 40 days. If you've never done it, do it. If you've already done it, do it. If you've already done the class, do it again. You are going deeper into your relationship with God, the light of God, bringing that light in, activating the God particle. You can't do it enough. It's like some people have been like, well, is it going to be any different? No, it's going to be exactly the same. You just want to go deeper into it. You don't ever want to stop sitting with God. You don't ever want to stop activating and integrating and embodying God's light. So yeah, it's going to be the same except that it's going to be deeper. Anyway, the link is down below. Join us. We have coupon codes, and we'd love to see you there. I love you guys. And if you like this video, click the little thumbs up because that is actually what gets the algorithm going, the little thumbs up button. And if we get the algorithm going, more people will find this. And if more people find this, then they're going to find God consciousness and the God particle and then yada, yada, yada. So I love you guys. I'll see you next week.